shot, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise, I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up? What up? What is up? TGIFF is what is up, and this is where it's at here at Pregaming Sports Money Network, Monday through Friday. We get popping off at 6 p.m.-ish, getting together, giving you guys that last look to try to beat the books when it comes to sports betting. Excited to be here tonight. Friday nights, we welcome in our guest at the end of the show to talk to us directly from Las Vegas. The risk manager at the Superbook, Andrew Babakidis, will be joining us at 6:45. And you'll see that means we have a lot of work to do. We've got a big baseball card tonight. Lots of action, and more action. We've got a full state. We've got St. Louis and Washington. We've got Milwaukee and Tampa Bay, Boston and Kansas City. We'll talk Cincinnati, Houston, Dodgers, and Arizona to round out the baseball card. We'll move over to the NHL. We'll trade in the torpedo bats for some torpedo skates. We'll go to Toronto and Florida. Game 3 of that series. Florida down, backs against the wall, 0-2. Then we'll talk Dallas and Winnipeg. Interesting Dallas game the other night. We'll go to the NBA. We'll talk Cleveland and Indiana. We'll talk OKC and Denver Nuggets. And then we'll bring in Andrew to talk about the UFC 315 pay-per-view card. It's all happening. It's all here. And if you're new here, this is where we leverage angles, trends, cash flow splits, line movement, injury updates, you name it. We smack it all together, shake it up in the blender, and try to pour out some winners. And that's what we've been doing. Albeit yesterday, we had a little bit of a setback there. Phillies don't get the first 5. They do win the full 2-1, lost that first 5, do win the full game. And the under 8 got us busted up in the Cincinnati Reds. 9 points, 9 runs. 9 runs scored. Look, 101 in the NHL. We crushed that we crushed that Washington Capitals plus 140 spot. We did not win the Vegas Golden Knights thanks to a late night and an overtime fail. But how impressive was Connor McDavid? He gassed. He literally took Jack Eichel right out of his jockstrap, slapped him in the face with it as he passed it over to Draisaitl, and that's the old construction cone. I've talked to you guys about the construction cone before. You could put a construction cone, a pylon cone, whatever you want to call it out there, on the ice with Connor McDavid, and it would find a way to generate points. And now Draisaitl is obviously a step up from a pylon cone, let's be honest. But still hurt my feelings. It's funny, we shut the show down, and I, in my stupor, dropped a huge bet on the Cleveland Cavaliers money line. And I think it was because I was looking at the Steam report and I got all excited, and that they've been steaming this thing for 2 days. So I picked it up around a minus 140. And I was looking at the bankroll this morning and I'm like, wow, I thought there was more zeros in there than that. What happened? And I thought about it for a few minutes and I was like, let me see what's going on here. And I clicked on open bets and there it was. And they were already offering me a cash payout over what I invested. That line has moved to minus 200 or so now, which is unbelievable. And I guess I got it at the right spot. So we'll take that one and run with it. That being said, though, we did get the over in Golden State and the Minnesota Timberwolves. That Minnesota Timberwolves that I gave out live came through in the first 5. The Toronto Blue Jays cashed, busted up. Them Angels avoided the sweep. We've talked about that before. And that's the way the day was done. And it was a late night. It was a super late night. And then an early morning this morning. So grinding, scrubbing this card. I found a bunch of spots that I really wanted to get involved with here. I laid some action down, and I thought there were some really great trends that complemented tonight's strategy. I'll tell you, though, I did find these NBA games and these NHL games to be a little bit more tricky than what I thought I guess I went about it differently than I thought I would, I guess is the best way to say it. So can't wait to talk about all of that. Let me tell you this. Don't go on Twitter and bash them Texas football fans because they get angry. Real salty. But it's all fun. It's all fun. It's all generating opportunities here to bring in more eyeballs. That's what you guys have helped us do by way of smashing that thumbs up button in show. And the comments after the show are greatly appreciated. Try to get to each and every one of them, even if it's just an acknowledgement with a THX or an LFG. That's how we keep this thing going. You know, the more we comment within the comments, the more this thing continues to promote us across what is this algorithm. Everyone talks about this algorithm and help us. Listen, we need the help. We're viewer supported, but it's no surprise. It's no trick. If we comment and thumbs up this thing, then YouTube promotes the growth. I saw yesterday, we've gotten 25% more views in 1 month. Now we added the golf segment. No doubt about that with MMA Jeff and I going through golf, but 25% growth in 1 month. Phenomenal. We're almost to 40,000 or 45,000 views in a month. Can you believe that? I find that unbelievable here, but that's sports money. That's the nation of sports money growing, getting loud. I hope you guys are as proud as I am about this thing because it's fun. It's a daily battle, but we have a good time every single day. And I'll tell you what, speaking of a good time, I hope you guys checked out that golf content. I know we're a little late this week with it. We'll certainly do a better job of getting that out to you guys, but it's a short video. It's like 6 minutes, right? It's like, here's what happened. Here's the course. Here's the players that fall under what we think are the strategy to attack the golf course. And then we give you our actual plays. And of our plays, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players right now. 7. So, 8. 8 players that we gave out. Almost a ninth. All these players were plus 250s, plus 300s, plus 350s, plus 400s, plus 900s, plus 1100s, plus 4. Not just players to win. Top 10s, top 20s, top 10s, top 5s. The first round leadership has sailed. There were only 2 of those, but we were just 2 strokes back. They're all in play. It's the shortest video segment I think we do, but I think it does have the most return on your investment if you take just a couple of minutes to check it out. Next week will be the PGA Championship. That is a major. That is the second of the 4 majors on the season, but unbelievable. Like I said, I think 9 guys right now. And you know, the funny thing is because they're top 20s, top 10s, top 5s, and outrights, they'll all pay. If it ended right now, they would all pay. Every single one of them. Every single spot. If you're not checking out golf, don't miss out, man. The summer's right upon us here. Few short weeks away from the summer solstice. That's the longest day of the year. And things will grind. We'll get into baseball. We'll only have baseball, golf, NASCAR. Now we'll have football. We'll have rugby. Don't forget to check out our guy, Dan and Smythe. Their 2 rugby plays are starting soon. Have not started yet. You have not missed it. And then, of course, we're going to go live tomorrow for the big UFC pay-per-view 315 playbook. Ready to roll. We'll get that out to you guys tonight. I'm going to continue to add to it, but we've got quite a bit of I think we've got something covered on every single fight. So just more and more and more opportunities to get paid. And all we ask you to do is smash that thumbs up button. Now I also ask you to comment. And I also ask you to get a silver membership, but it sounds a lot better when I say all I ask you to do is smash the thumbs up. Take a second, do me that favor right now if you haven't done so already. Let's get this show on the road. Let's go, you guys. I'm fired up. This is the part of the show where it's listen. It's my favorite part Monday through Thursday. My favorite part on Friday, I'm sorry. It has become our friend of the program, Andrew, coming in talking UFC. This man loves it. He's been talking about it all week long. I can't wait to hear where the liability is. Nonetheless, you guys are my favorite part throughout the week here. I love seeing what you guys are on. This is the time where you get that notebook out. You write these plays down. Our chat, our community is on fire. They're hustling. They're bustling. Let's get through it. Let's go, Jover. Ready to roll. Put your best bets out there. He's on the Phillies Guardians over 7.5. I saw a lot of guys on the Guardians. I'm going to tell you, the trend support a Philly spot. A lot of our friends are on the Guardians. Trend support a Philly spot. Trend support a Philly spot. Gerald Jones says, Pimp a Crew on NBA Heater. 10-0 his last 3 days. Best bet, the Cavs minus 3.5 in the first half. Okay. I like that first half bet. We talked some first halves yesterday. Got that cash. And Gerald Jones likes that Cleveland Phillies spot. He's got the 8. Joe Dubs here. Now 7.5. Best bet, 41 and 34 for our guy, Gerald Jones. He's been sharing them here with you guys every single day. Shout out to you, Gerald Jones. Nicholas Handy's here. Says, shout out to Razor. Ordered a Cash It t-shirt today. I'm going to have to get the old sports money swag on the fence here. We've been battling around with a bunch of content and new shows. I got to do some refreshes on the graphics too, but shout out to you, Gerald Jones. Jay Main's ready to roll. Peter Gracia. Robert McCormick's here. Gerald Jones says $22, but damn, shipping $10, $32. What is fucking Razor delivering it himself? Timmy Tucci says LA Dodgers is plus money. What's going on? I'm on that just because both teams have shit bullpens. I mean, how many times will the LA Dodgers be plus money? That's a great question. There's our guy, Wine Time Sports. J-Man likes the Royals -2. Stop Geoengineering says, let's freaking get this weekend. Good luck, my peoples. Nasty Nate likes the Cavs second quarter. And he's on his way to a fishing trip, so he always does a nice job. Like a teenage Instagram star documenting his time out and about. So I can't wait to see those pictures. Tone Abs in the house. I heard they call you Locksmith. Is that correct? I think we have the Sports Almanac sometimes, and I think we might have that today. Shout out to Trisha M. Best of luck, all Ice Cats or bust. Nasty Nate says, who? Peter Gracia likes the Royals in the over. Trisha M. says, headed to the Guitar Casino to watch. We'll be trying that Moolah Roulette strategy. Gotta stay to it. You guys know the deal. You pick a number, and then on the wheel, not your own numbers, not the felt numbers, not the numbers on the board, the wheel. You pick a number, and then to the left and to the right of that number on the wheel, the 2 numbers to the left, the 2 numbers on the right, you cover 5 numbers. Your number, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 5 numbers. That means you're covering 18% of the board. Theoretically, once out of every 6 times that ball travels around, you're going to cash. And when you cash, it pays out 35-1. If you're playing a minimum hand, 6 spins will cost you 30. You'll win a 5. But obviously, you want to win more than that. That's the theory. That's the strategy for roulette there. Got a quick special in there. Redbeard says, I roulette 70. We don't have it here. We don't have the exclamation roulette going here. I'd roll the wheel with you guys, but we don't have it. So let's go. I'll tell you what we do have is a lot of action. We got about 30 minutes, 29 minutes. I know our guy is a punctual professional, and I appreciate that. And taking the time out of his day to talk to us about my favorite sport, the UFC. I was a little disappointed. A little disappointed to learn. No foot stomps this week. No foot stomps. And literally, the rule change this week. No foot stomps in the UFC. Everything else goes, but no foot stomps. That's my first. It's got to hurt like a son of a gun, man. I mean, there's so many tiny little bones in your toes and your foot and everything else. So having somebody stomp on it with aggressive authority sounds like it's going to hurt, is what it sounds like to me. Probably not a bad idea, but I am the guy that yells foot stomp at the UFC events. So a little disappointing to see that one come out the window. All right. Lots of action tonight. We're going to pop off with the St. Louis Cardinals, game number 1 on the book. We've got the Cardinals opened up at -102. We've got 50% of the bets and 54% of the, I like this over here more, 54% of the cash on the Cardinals. They've moved from a slight road dog to a slight favorite at -110. With no movement on the total, it started at 8.5. It's sitting at 8.5, and I'm going to tell you exactly why this is the case. Well, from what I think is the case. And the reality is, these teams know about the Nationals. Now, this was tricky at first. Because I said, man, the Cardinals to start a series, is that where I want to put my money? And then we talked about the Nationals, and we talked about the Nationals at home to start a series. Now, it's Eric Fetty with a 4.78 ERA. It's Mitchell Parker with a 3.48 ERA. You look at these two teams, you see the situations. They've both been, call it mediocre at best, I guess. The Nationals did get gunned down at home, though. No travel for the Nationals. They won the first game 10-9 against Cleveland. They proceeded to lose the next two. Cleveland now traveling back to home with a day's rest in between. We'll fight the Fighting Phillies tonight. And the Cardinals make things even more. They've been on a hell of a tear, by the way. They did go out there and battle the Mets. Took them down. Took down the Pirates. Swept the Pirates. Not only did they sweep the Pirates, they shut them out the last game of the series. Mediocre, but on a somewhat of a rise when it comes down to it. And look, I told you about these trends, about these spots, about this situation particularly. The reason I'm taking the St. Louis Cardinals, there they are. They're back. You guys asked for the banners. I took some time to put them back in there for you guys. I know it helps. I want to do what I can to help you guys. So you want to fade the Nationals is what it comes down to. The AL fade of the Washington Nationals on home openers. So you're in Washington and you're an AL team. Those AL teams, 120 and 77. Pretty sizable advantage. They're on a 9-game winning streak. That means 9 series. The Nats have played at home as the opener. The AL has come in there and slapped them. Not only that, the complimentary spot there is 3-7. That's what the Nationals are when they're at home against the Cardinals. Plenty of reason to want to get behind this team that is surging at a nice price, by the way. For a team that's on a little win streak against a team that's struggling, to pick up a minus 108 seemed like a nice little treat to get us going out there. Robert Glock says, foot stomps still allowed in NBA? Bo Jackson, of course, my Blue Jays win when I don't bet them. I went back to them. It was a nice comeback. Foot stomps are not allowed, but John Jones kicking you knee into hyperextension is okay. Ultimate fighting indeed. You guys know the deal. Andrew will answer questions that you guys may have available or ready. So think about him and make sure you get him in the chat because we will ask him his feedback. He will tell us his fights. We will talk about all of that fun stuff in the UFC here shortly. Let's move on to game number 2. We got to pick the pace up already. I feel like we're already moving at a brisk pace, but it's not brisk enough. Okay. Game numero dos. We've got the Brewers and the Tampa Bay Rays. What do we know about the Rays? They just played an extra innings game yesterday, only to lose to them fighting Phils. Milwaukee opened up as a slight dog. Minus 106. They've moved to minus 118. And there's sizable sharp betting coming in on this team here. 69% of the bets, 82% of the cash have hit the Brewers. The totals moved up a half a run as well, with 80% of the bets and 79% of the cash coming in. It's Quintana with a 2.83 ERA, and it's Lytle, I was going to say, with a 4.61 ERA. He's struggling, and the team's not able to recover from it. They're 2-5. We did talk about with his starts, and I know I talked to you guys about not concerning myself too much with the record, but there is a story to be told with it. I mean, Quintana's 4-1. Yeah, he's 4-1. The Brewers have found a way. He's doing his job early, but he can't control whether they win or lose. So the 4 wins is kind of, I think it's a little falsehood. I mean, he's starting out strong with a 2.83. You don't really need to look at his 4-1. On the other side with Lytle, 4.61 ERA, he's struggling. And the 2-5 record to me says they're just not able to come back. And we talked yesterday about the bats, the ineptness of these bats, particularly against righties. We see that in this situation. I mentioned the overtime spot last night. And gosh, it's got to be a heartbreaking, soul-quenching loss or soul-destroying loss. One of those rare spots where a team gets off the shutout. They lost 7-0. They fire back. They're up 6-1, only to blow it again to the Phillies. And I laugh because, that's my squad. On the other side of things, the Brewers coming off a loss. It's a travel day, but they had a day off in between. So you got a rested Brewers against an unrested Rays team. The better pitcher in Quintana. And we're looking at a situation with this one where I'm going to jump in. And maybe I foreshadowed it, but a reasonable price tag. Again, I think, first of all, it's definitely got to be demoralizing. You take a big squat to the back of the head, a big club. After you come all the way, you fight back, you find a way to get there, and then this team still beats you. But what it comes down to is non-divisional opportunities. This is a Brewer-specific trend. So we look at 3 different trends, right? Traditionally, we look at the sport itself. Then we'll look at team trends and then either player or coach trends. Coach trends more for college because it does, these players are cycling out of there every 2 or 3 years. So that being said, the Brewers are 10-4 as road favorites against non-divisional teams when they have a day's rest. That's why I prefaced it was a travel day with rest. 10-4 are the Brewers. -120 is a nice price tag. Another road team, but I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. What's up? Flea Mathis is here. Sancho's ready to roll. Jay Main says, Brew Crew, team total over 4.5. There's our guy, Subhuman Gacho. They were asking for sub last night. The Sub Club. What's up, Sub? Going to be fun on Saturday. Okay. Let's roll on. You guys have been talking about this game. Boston and Kansas City. I think we're pacing okay here. I think we're pacing okay. I think. We'll see. Boston and Kansas City. Pacing for a 7:40 p.m. start. Boston opens up. Slight road dog. Reverse line movement. 46% of the bets, but 77% of the cash are popping in on the Kansas City Royals. Yet this line's gone from -102 to -110 for the Boston Red Sox. The total's at 9. It has not moved. 94% of the bets, 90% of the cash. Now there's dissension in the ranks. They're asking players to step up and fill voids and holes, and they don't want to. So this Boston team kind of, look, fighting a little bit with themselves internally. It's Lorenzen versus Dobson. I'm sorry, Dobbins. Dobbins. Comparable matchup. Lorenzen, not the best season to start things off here with a 4.23, but I think that's pretty much who he is. I think he's kind of pitching to form. And then Dobbins is a 3.78 ERA. First thing you got to ask yourself, the Royals are 15-2 in their last 17, and they're opening up, and then they're getting moved to a dog? Doesn't that seem fishy? Now you can get a team that's 15-2 in its last 17 games. They are pretty strong at home, for sure. Dobbins, think about this guy. Night starts, 2.45 ERA. He likes playing at night. He doesn't mind playing on the road. And I think this is one of those spots here. If you're looking for, there's 3 spots that I looked at tonight. If you're looking to play the DraftKings Home Run Challenge, a player to hit a home run in this game, the Yankees game, or the Dodgers game, probably the 3 most obvious, right? And let's not fucking split hairs here. You got to take Ohtani, you got to take Judge, and then over here you probably take Devers, maybe. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you pick a home run prop, they were doing the free bet home run props. If you pick a home run prop and your game, the team that you have the home run prop for gets the most runs, you win the share of $1 million. So you want to pick a guy that's going to hit a home run on a team that's going to have a lot of scores. Those 3 games fit the profile for me. I'm not invested in the total on this game, though. Ultimately what it came down to for me was I'm going to take a side again. I'm going to take a small little road favorite now, but this one made me smile. This was like one of the first spots that I looked at on the card. And I know you guys are going to look at it and be like, yeah, I know we're on Kansas City and yeah. They just won 10-0. Now, this one intersects 2 of my belief systems. One, if you just shut a team out, now they're not within the same series, so it's not fully bought in belief system here, but if you just shut a team out, you're likely to get swatted. On the same side, theory number 2 is the blown load theory. They just scored 10 runs. They fucked us yesterday on that. I'm using strong language because it was a screw job. Bubic over 5.5 Ks and the under 8.5, and they put 4 runs up in the 10th inning. We're going to get that money back here because now the other side of things here, the Red Sox. The reason I can dismiss the team just got the shutout is because Boston just got a shutout. Both teams got the shutout. But fading the dog after a home shutout win. Doesn't that kind of feel like what we've been talking about? Team just gets the shutout. Well, we'll quantify it. It's 128-54 in a Boston position today. The Royals is the dog. Boston as the small favorite, 128-54. Also, if you're the favorite against a team that was a big favorite the previous game, and Kansas City they were a minus 250, you're 91-40 in those spots. Sorry, you guys that are on Kansas City. Hopefully you can cash out. Nasty Nate says the Red Sox smash. I was putting it in and I was like, I know Nasty Nate's going to say the Red Sox smash. Nicholas Haney says Witt or Bregman. Yeah, Bregman's not a bad choice. That was the other guy I guess I would look at on the list from a home run prop. And I know it's square, right? But we want to fuck around and try to get a tricky little plus 1,000 bomb for a ninth inning or ninth guy. I mean, Rice for the Yankees, probably the spot that I'll have my play on tonight because he's just bombing it out there, and they're playing in that rinky-dink little ballpark out there in Sacramento. Onward and upward. At least hopefully I saved you guys the time and the effort of going in there and putting the wrong bet down. Boston it is for me. We'll see. I shouldn't call you guys bet the wrong bet if you're on Kansas City. That's why they got to play the game. They play the game, and we will find out. I'm going to find out with this Houston game. We're going to go back to this series here. Houston and Cincinnati. 88% of the bets, 84% of the cash. Houston. It's come down a little bit. It's oscillating to some degree. A little bit of movement towards, little bit, like slightest. I know the line's come down 18 cents, right? It's gone from minus $2 to 182. The Cincinnati Red Spot's gone from plus 168 to 165. So, with all fairness, not a ton of movement. 91% of the bets and 87% of the cash are on the over 7.5. Not a movement, though, there. Nick Martinez, 4.19. Here's another situation. 1-3 with a big ERA because he gets down and the team just can't come back. And that's because of the inconsistency, right? We talked about this. This team had like that one game with 21 runs or something like that. And they've got some big double-digit run spots, and then it's feast or famine. Hunter Brown will start with a great start to the season with a 1.67 ERA. He's holding them down. He's 5-1 as expected. The Reds have absolutely cooked Houston. 51-19 over their last 70 starts. And, Martinez, 2.04 ERA over his last 3 starts. So tough start to the season. Those 3 starts, though, the thing about those is I dissected them. 17 innings, 17.2. So he went into an extra there. So that's basically 5 innings. That's where you want your starter to go. The Reds stink against right-handed pitching right now. 0.248 batting average against them, boys. We're going to need the bullpens to step up here. It's a parlay. It's a plus 150 spot. Now, I'll tell you, there's 2 trends that I looked at with this one. The first one, the home favorite, scoring more runs on a total greater than a 7 against a shit team. How do we define a shit team? Sub 500. There they are. Teams in that position are 50-5. Think about it. You're not expecting 7.5 is a low pitching total, but the 7, you're not expecting the 7 or lower, meaning you're probably not getting the wind blowing in a dynamite pitching matchup. You're the better team, and you're home, and you're the favorite. You're 50-5. Pretty clear, I thought. And then on top of that, the under, 33-22 to the under. Not the biggest win percentage out there, but it's just around 60%. That's the number that we want to use as the litmus test here. So instead of getting involved on a juicy favorite, we turn this thing into a plus 150 parlay. And that's how we're going to get her done there. Houston and Cincinnati. Moving on. What do we got? Shoot. Gotta move. Arizona Diamondbacks up next on deck here, and the LA Dodgers, Los Doyers. I would say it's fishy that you're catching them as a plus money spot. The road team, minus 120, now plus 100, 83% of the bets, 85% of the cash on the Dodgers and their dogs. I can't remember what our guy JPZ used to say about the Dodgers. Was it every time they make them? I can't remember. This line started at 9.5. It's got some 10s and 10.5s. 85% of the bets, 85% of the cash. The matchup is Sasaki versus Rodriguez. Erod. I expect runs. I've taken this over. It's a 10. It's a bloated number. It's over that key number of 9. So they're suggesting, and the money's coming in on it, and it moved to half a run. Last game up, the Diamondbacks did beat down them Dodgers 5-3 yesterday. Surprised everybody. 4 straight unders for this Diamondbacks team in the desert. And yet we opened up over the key number of 9. Dodgers are an over-under. They're zigging, they're zagging. Well, guess what? Last night was under. Today is over. Both these pitchers are more than vulnerable or capable of getting touched up, and we have intersecting zeros. Road favorites, after a loss as a favorite in the Dodgers position, are 11-0 to the over. So you got them on the zig, off a zigzag system that says they go over, and then you got an 11-0 to the over. Now, obviously, this has come down a little bit, but the average margin of victory there, or average margin of over, is almost 3 runs, 2.8 runs. The Diamondbacks, 10-0 to the over. Line's less than a 240 against a divisional opponent. Off a dog versus a divisional opponent. So the divisional opponent dog situation, they surprise and they go over. And they go over by 4.9 runs. They're thinking things are going to get cooking out there in the desert tonight. I know it's tricky because you got Teoscar Hernandez out of the lineup. But I think it's okay. I think they'll find a way. This is one of, like I said, this one, and then the Yankees game was another one that had a really high profile for the over. Kettle Marte. I guess you got to decide whether or not you believe it's going to be Arizona or the Dodgers that are going to win this game, right? But Freeman's obviously not a bad look for a home run. He's got a plus 560 price tag on him. And then Naylor would probably be the other guy I would consider out there at a plus 430 price tag. You don't want to miss out on that share of $1 million. And that's how we're going to close out the MLB card. Brisk pace. We got about 5 to 10 minutes before our guy gets in here ready to roll. So let's get ready to go. Scum Blaster. What's up, my dude? Yeah, I like the Pirates today. I was talking with one of our guys earlier today about that. I said, we were talking back and forth, and I was joking with him. I said, he said Pirates, and I was like, Braves. No, it's a Pirates. I mean, here's the other thing, too. If you guys believe in that angle of playing the team after the coach gets fired, they just fired their coach in Pittsburgh. So Paul Skeens commented on it. He made the conversation that said, if we don't get it together soon, this whole season is going to be a waste. That fucking dude with his lovely wife, or lovely life, I was going to say. Whoops. This fucking guy. Anyways, I digress. NHL hockey is upon us here. And we've got Sergei Bobrovsky. We've got Joseph Woll. I said this yesterday. Did not make the trip as Stolars. Told you that a day in advance. Man, that fucking Vegas game hurt me last night. Not going to lie. That's why when I go more than a unit, and I kept hammering that. I hammered both teams yesterday. My strategy was every 10 minutes the game hadn't tied or hadn't moved, 10 double down the bet. So I got about 4 double downs on the Capitals game. And I think I got like 5 or 6 down on that Vegas game. So to go into overtime was just a soul destroying, bag over the head, kick me in the nuts. Sharp perspective betting's coming in on the Florida Panthers, and why wouldn't it here? Look at this number, look at this squad, look at the situation. 0-2. How are you going to get paid? I'm going to get paid with this Toronto Blue Jay spot. Clearly, I've been, I was on the Panthers the other day. Can't undo that one. Whoops. We were on Toronto in the first game of the series, plus money spot. But we also had the total that was off. implied probability. Toronto should not be a 200 dog. That's it. You're telling me, what is it? 50-50 at best. And if it's 50-50, then it should be priced around a plus 120. They fucked these odds all up. And they had to, because Florida needs this game, and they're going home to get it done. I don't think they do. I think this is a situation where we've seen thus far that Toronto has rattled this team's cage, both on the scoreboard and when you start seeing guys going around there headhunting, playing like assholes. I mean, another elbow to the back of the head on the fucking goalie. Now, Toronto can't let that shit happen again. I mean, if you lose this fucking dink and dunker here, you're in trouble. I don't know why I called him a dink and dunker. I was going to say something else. Didn't come out right. At the end of the day, though, I mean, look, 4-3 and 5-4, they've both been competitive games. It's not like they were out, right? The 1.5, the puck lines have been doing well. I didn't get this puck line at like a minus 110 or a minus 115. So now you got to ask yourself, do you expect Toronto, they're just getting disrespected here. They're scoring at will because Bobrovsky's a bag. Not me. I'm involved. I'm going to take Toronto. I think that, like I said, I think they're frustrated. I think they got out of their game style. Now, will this game be physical again? If it is, it's just going to be more of this shit. It's going to be more, the more physical the game 1 and 2. I talked about this with the Capitals the other day. Getting Tom Wilson in play and getting this guy physical and engaged on this Carolina team. You got a lower scoring game. You did it right off the hop. Florida got fucked up right off the hop, and they hurt the goalie. The only reason that game was a 1-goal score game was because they brought in Wall, and he struggled. You saw more frustration in the last game. Yeah, it was close, but man, Florida finally scores that goal in the third period, and then boom, that was better. Toronto fires right back within the amount of time it took me to walk from my office to my kitchen, back to my office. 15 seconds, 20 seconds, scored again. This Florida team is frustrated. They're disappointed. They're angry. They're playing like a bunch of numbskulls out there now. And while I can appreciate wanting to be physical, that does not support beating this Toronto team. And, probably a higher scoring game, but I'm going to take Toronto. I don't think this price tag is warranted. I think it's a disrespect for a team that's probably going to end up winning the Stanley Cup. Lots of people now talking, by the way, Toronto and Edmonton. Boy, that would probably be miserable for America. Can you imagine having to sit around and watch 7 games of 2 Canadian teams playing hockey? But I can't think of it. I guess I'd rather see. Edmonton's got the 2-game series on Vegas. I guess I'd rather see Dallas. But I don't think Dallas wins the game tonight. Well, I got them leading the series 2-0. It's funny, as I was typing that, I was thinking it's 1-0, and I still put 2-0. Big movement here. These guys are now minus 135 in Winnipeg. So we're not seeing that. Yesterday, I thought both teams would even up the series. If someone's going to even up a series in this one, it's going to be this team, obviously, tonight in Winnipeg. That's my thought process around these, Hellebuck and Ottinger, low-scoring game. I still can't believe it. Remember last game? 0-0 first period, 5 goals second period, no goals third period, under cashed. Same goaltending battle, expected. They're playing the unconfirmed game with Hellebuck out there, but to me, I was going to say too, by the way, Toronto in that last game, I wrote my note. I forgot to say it. The ref report, Wes McCulley, when he refs Toronto games this year, the Toronto is 0-3. And TJ Luxmore, when he refs Florida games this year, he's 6-1. So there's a lot of things against this Toronto side of things here, but I just don't think that number's right. I'll take a shot for that 2-1 payday or take the plus 1.5. Grade me on the even money spot. That's where I'm going to put my money. And then in this game here, I'm going to go right to the under. Going to pick this pace up here because we got our boy that's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. I took the under in this game. Sharp Perspective Betting Action has been pounding this under for 2 days. 6s are a little pricey at minus 125. 5.5s are fine. You got 85% of the bets, 87% of the cash on that over. And it's going under. I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers. I told you guys, I screwed up last night and I took this money line with a huge investment. But it's moved so much now that I don't think I can get involved in that. I can't give that out to you guys at minus $2, and I'm not playing them I'm not playing the -4.5 now. It's moved. This line has moved in this Cleveland game. -1 now, -4.5. Money starting to come in on the Pacers side of things here. Now, the big anticipation from the sharp bettors that have been betting on this Cavaliers game for 2 days now, they've been betting the Cavs, are expecting Mobley and this Garland, the whole squad, to come back for Cleveland. This total's gone from 228.5 to 231.5. And you have 87% of the bets and 86% of the cash on the over. I jumped in on the under. This one to me felt like a situation where you've got a couple of things going on. The first one has to do with if the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to get back in this game, they got to slow down that Pacers team. They can't let them run out there with pace. The Cavaliers find themselves in an 11-0 under spot when they're playing conference teams, and they had back-to-back games of 120 or more points. And I found a cute little round one stat I thought out there was postseason favorites after the first round, off a loss, that attempted more shots than their opponent tend to go under. Tend to go under at a large clip. Something like 37-16 to the under. So, hey, just a little over a 2-1 advantage or edge in that spot. From a Pacers perspective, the Cavs, I told you where I'm at with them. I can't, 50 cents a movement. I can't give that back to you guys. The Pacers are 0-8 this season against the spread if they allowed less than 5 fast break points the previous game. So the little suggestion on that. And then to bring her home, and I see our guys backstage and ready to roll, so I want to appreciate and respect his time. 231.5. Last game I got for you guys here in the NBA is this Nuggets and OKC spot. I'm curious to hear what our man Andrew has to say, what's happening in the old risk room here, because they just busted them up, right? They outplayed them by 50 points? Big spot out there. And it just comes down to if you beat the shit out of a team before, if you stomp on them by 20 or more points, the next game you beat them up again. You've taken their soul, ripped it right out of their body, and stomped all over it. 43-18 are teams that bust a team up the previous time out there. It's on an 11-1 run to get her done. I'll lay the 5.5. See you guys at the window with that one. I can't wait to watch that NBA game. It should be fun. How do you rebound after you get busted up by 50 points? History says you don't rebound. That's all there is to it. So let's welcome in our guy here, our Friday showpiece here. Love to get involved with this guy. My favorite segment of the week. From the Superbook in Las Vegas. I think he's ready to roll. He's been a busy man. Grinding. Giving everybody the info, the haps on the track.
What's up, man? How are you?
I see I screwed up the date on the slide here, but other than that, I'm doing well, my friend. Happy Friday. Happy pay-per-view Friday to you.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a sweet card because, like I mentioned on the other shows, this is the most competitive card I think I can remember this year, especially on the pay-per-view. From top down, other than the BSD fight that got obviously canceled, the Joel Alvarez, like this is just from top to bottom, a competitive card all the way around. And then we got a couple, like you were talking about before, big basketball games tonight. I'm super excited for that. And man, the hockey's been incredible too. It's just a good time to be, in the sports book. It's been electric here.
I gotta ask you, with you speak of the hockey spots there, and I want to definitely talk UFC here, and I'm going to get you driving this car in just a second. But what kind of liability do you guys see on this Toronto game? I find it hard to believe they're 2-1. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it looks like this one's pretty balanced. We need the Maple Leafs for a small amount, so it looks like they're betting the Panthers, obviously, in the I guess they would believe is a must-win. But yeah, not too big of a decision on this one. It's honestly pretty balanced. Looking at the hockey stuff, I'm not. We did take a very sharp bet from one of our better bettors on the other game on the Jets at -114. That one's moved quite a bit. We're sitting -130 now. I think in comparison to what else you can see out there, we're pretty much the most fair split out there. We do 10-cent hockey lines. So your comeback on -130 is +120 on the Stars. So we're looking to swing that decision quite a bit. We're going to end up trying to win on the Jets with that customer. yeah, pretty solid handle on the hockey, man. These games have been a lot of fun. I mean, I was pretty bummed last night about the Knights. Uh,
Yeah.
I feel like we should have probably got that penalty call at the end, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, and yeah, it's not dead yet. Still
Connor
some time.
McDavid absolutely gassed Jack Eichel, though, man. I mean, Jack Eichel's still looking for his jockstrap.
I mean, he's an incredible player, and they're due to win one at some point. I feel like so. Um, yeah, I'm not too upset, but the hockey has been a fun watch. And even though I'm not super into hockey, you could just tell that atmosphere out there is just it's pretty incredible playoff atmosphere.
I posed a question a couple years ago, and people thought I was crazy, but it's kind of in that situation right now where I said, do you think Connor McDavid's more likely to win a Stanley Cup with Edmonton or anybody else? And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the last year on his contract. So not saying he's going anywhere, but it's either now or never, I think, for the Edmonton Oilers, especially if they want to keep this guy around.
No, I mean, I don't disagree. I know because I'm kind of in charge of some of the exacta pools. So like whatever, Knights to beat whoever in the finals and stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of Oiler and a lot of Edmonton love, like especially over the last couple weeks. It feels like there's a lot of people that are, buying into the hype and think that this is the year that they're going to get it done with McDavid. So, yeah, I'm not the smartest hockey guy, but it's definitely been fun to keep up with it and hear the guys in the back love hockey. So it's fun to hear them talking about it and everything as well.
Tons of fun. Well, I want to get you right to the business of the business, my guy. This is a great card. I'm going to turn the keys to this thing right over to you, my friend. Driver, like you stole it. Let's talk about this UFC. I know you've been a busy man doing a lot of this stuff this week, especially with the big card. So I'm love to hear what you have. I got a couple questions I'll pop in at the end, but the floor is yours, my friend.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's just start. We'll just start from the main event then. I mean that and then we'll go down the list a little bit on some of the sharp action that I've seen this week. And then if you have any questions on any of the other fights, I'm more than happy to talk about any of the fights. So starting with the main event, Jack Della versus Bilal Muhammad. We opened that one at the beginning of March. That price opened up minus 220 on Bilal Muhammad. So you can see the price has kind of shifted quite a bit. Initially, there was some strong Bilal money. It got as high as minus 280. But ever since then, it's been all sharp one-way action on Jack Della. Multiple sharp plays, plus 195, plus 165, plus 155. And I think that's obviously why you kind of see the price has just shifted so far. Yeah, now we're sitting on Bilal Muhammad minus 175. So, yeah, the sharp guys are all over the Jack Della side. From my perspective, obviously we want to not lose on the sharp side, but I personally like Bilal Muhammad in this fight. So I'm not going to go crazy digging my heels in to need Jack Della for a big number, because I think me, along with some of the guys in the back, we do still think Bilal is the side. And honestly, if it keeps getting cheaper, I wouldn't hate betting it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for that main event. We'll talk about the co-main. That's another really, really good fight. Shevchenko versus Fiorot. We opened this one a flat pick'em. So it was minus 110 both ways. Instantly off the bat, we got some sharp action on Fiorot. It got as high as minus 155, but you're kind of seeing that U shape where it's back down to almost where we opened the thing. Because over the last few days at that big plus money, we've been getting, not big plus money, but you know what I mean, plus 120, plus 115. The plus money on the champion has been coming in over the last few days. A couple of five-figure bets. So that shifted the odds for us at least. And I know a couple of the guys in the back, along with myself, this is not typical to go against the sharp action, but I honestly lean Shevchenko in this fight too. So we're not looking to dig our feet in on either of those two fights with the sharp action, but it's nice to know that it's there, and it's good information to help book these fights for sure. Yeah, we can go a little bit further down on the list with the Mike Malott versus Charles Radke fight. We did take a very large respected wager on Radke at plus 195. That's another fight that's had a ton of line movement. We opened Mike Malott at -$2. It got as high as -250. Like I said, at that point, we did get some Charles Radke money. Then that price just shot all the way down to -165. But over the last 24 hours, there's been some backers on the Mike Malott side. And I assume tomorrow we're going to have some Mike Malott money for sure in the parlays and everything. So now we're back to exactly where we opened it. So that one's moved within like 150-cent range. And it's just funny how it ends up sitting right back on where we opened the number. And then I have one more good fight to talk about with the sharp action. The Santos versus Lee fight. Obviously one of the earlier fights on the card. Looks like we initially opened this with the wrong favorite. Lee opened up plus 115, so Santos was minus 135, and it was a early sharp action on Lee, and it flipped. The line actually flipped. Lee is now sitting minus 150. And like I said, we did get early sharp action at plus 115. We were very aggressive to move that number to try to balance the book and win on that sharp side. But as you can see, the market moved right with it, and clearly there's some very sharp money on that Lee side, which indicates that might be the side. And along with that fight, we did take a sharp bet on the under in that fight as well at 2.5 under minus 120. Yeah, but those are the most respected bets on the card so far. But if there's any other fights, I'm definitely willing to break them down if anybody has interest in hearing about any of the other fights as well.
My man, great. I'll tell you what, I was excited to hear you talk about Shevchenko in the co-main. I don't know if anybody, I know you're moving and grinding here, but I don't know if anybody else has shared this or not. Maybe they have. I'm sure it has. It's not my own, but the dog in the co-main event has won at an unbelievably just blind bet at rate, because you're looking at a dog. Now, this one's a little bit different. You know, we're sitting around minus or plus 115s or 120s. Son of a bitch is sitting at like 68%, Andrew. It's crazy just to sit out. I can't imagine a circumstance where that's the case, that just that we don't see it go that. And we saw it again with RDR last week. So I know your boy.
Yeah.
For us here, but
no. Yeah, I'm glad he got that humble pie, and I hope maybe he can build off of that. But yeah, that was a big jumping competition for my guy Bo Nickel, and yeah, that was pretty humbling for him. So that was a bummer.
The thing is catching that loss though. It's kind of like you're managing the zero for a long time, and now he can, maybe that frees him up to be able to take some more chances, because he's not, you get a nice little, I know it happens with us. We get an 8, 9, 10 spot streak, and it's like, man, your head starts playing tricks on you, I guess is what it comes down to. So,
right.
Happy to hear the Chucky Buffalo stuff though. That's exciting for me. I'm a little Radke fan there. I know you said someone's got to pay for booing USA.
He wants the revenge on Canada for sure. I know he wants to get on the mic and talk his crap. But with that Bo Nickel fight, I wanted to mention one more thing that I thought was interesting. I think it makes a lot more sense why everyone was questioning him after that fight with Paul Craig. Like, why didn't he take him down? Why didn't he show his stuff on the ground in that fight? And I think it's pretty apparent that his jiu-jitsu is not at the highest level yet, and he's still pretty raw in the jiu-jitsu. So, like I said, like Paul Craig is pretty good on the ground, and De Ridder was able to, get a lot of flip position pretty quick. I don't think Bo Nickel had top position for more than a minute. And yeah, man, you won't be, I don't think you'll be seeing that $12 price tag on Bo Nickel anymore.
He did us a favor, because I hate to say it, but I did take some RDR money. Dog in the co-main, Andrew. That's my thing. And so he did me the favor now, because I do like Bo Nickel, and I am a big Penn State fan. So collectively, it gives me the opportunity to catch him at a discount the next couple of fights, I'm sure. But hey,
Absolutely.
some questions were coming in. Aldo and Zahabi, right? A pretty significant weight miss by Aldo there.
Yeah.
They've had to move up a full weight class now. Kind of that breaking news today. Have you seen any kind of change in the liability or the action? Where was it maybe prior to, and how is that, if at all, affected where the books sit today?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We opened Aldo up at minus 220. It didn't really get any higher than that. The highest it ever was minus 220. We definitely were trying to shade. I like that Zahabi side. I'm not digging my heels in or anything, but because you know that Aldo money's going to come in day of the fights. He's a very popular fighter. He's around that minus $2 range where he's going to be thrown into a ton of parlays. So we don't have to go crazy to dig in on the dog early, right? We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we need the dog crazy early because you already know day of the fight we're going to get that extra liability on Aldo. But the weight miss does throw a curveball for everybody, right? We don't know why he missed. It could be an advantage for him because he didn't have to cut that extra 5 pounds, or it could be a total disadvantage. He could be hurt and he was not capable of cutting the weight. So, yeah, there's a lot of question marks in this fight. But at the end of the day, I think I want to be able to win a small amount on Zahabi, at least a little pickup on that side. But like I said, not going too crazy because that money's going to come in on Aldo tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember what you said the other day too, or last week. I thought it was pretty insightful when you talked about like some of the sharper bettors will take their dogs on game day, but yeah, public looks at the card. What if any is the largest liability? Where do you see the biggest public? Like, which is the one where it's you versus the public and you need to win?
Let me look through them. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them. Yeah, we did take a couple big bets on Kudalaba. Early on, we talked about that fight. It feels like a complete coin flip. So that one will be easy to balance because there's not a bunch of liability at that big plus money. And like I kind of mentioned to you before, this is a really a card where there's not too many egregious lines, right? Like there's not any other than that BSD fight, which I'll be completely honest, we haven't had any big takers on the dog in that one, so there's not a significant amount of liability on that fight. Yeah, we really don't have a ton of liability on any of the dogs because the lines are pretty balanced. I did tell Clint on the show earlier, I would not be shocked if this Natalia Silva fight keeps moving up in that direction. If we did take some big bets on Alexa Grasso tomorrow, just based off of, her price in the last fight against Shevchenko, closing the favorite, and now you're getting over a 2-to-1 price on her. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of our bigger liabilities tomorrow. But currently, right now, I would say the biggest one would be Jack Della, and we did take some big bets, like I said, on Kutalaba.
Okay, good stuff. Excellent. I'll love to hear this information. It's one thing as sports gamblers giving our opinions and telling you what we think is going to happen, but we love to hear it from the other side of the counter, and it's a real treat. Hey, I know you shared NHL. Last thoughts here, anything on the NBA that's jumping out with this action this evening? Big swing of events. I don't know if you heard me talk about it, but teams that get the club find a way to find the club again the next game is what it kind of comes out to. Are you seeing that with the OKC numbers at all?
Well, for sure, starting with the Pacers game.
Yep.
They're betting the Cavs pretty heavily in the must-win situation. So that's not super surprising to me. So it looks like we're going to need the Pacers for a pretty big number. The Thunder game is a lot more balanced. Pretty significant handle on both sides, to be honest. A lot of takers on both sides. I don't really have any sharp information to give you there, but that one is a lot more balanced than the Pacers and Cavaliers game. They're betting the Cavs like crazy for sure.
Gotcha.
What was your take on the Thunder Nuggets? You said what side were you leaning?
I'm looking at the OKC. I'm going to lay the 5.5 on the OKC side. Love the trends and kind of using the angles and the analysis there, but Game one, they got surprised for sure. That was one of those spots where I looked at it and saw, the team that comes off of playing a game 7 against the team that's got the rest ends up turning into rust, right? It's kind of that classic adage, and I thought that was a good spot I didn't think they were going to win outright, but surprise, surprise. I figured OKC would get their heads and their butts realigned for that last game out there, and to blow them out like they did, though, that thought process was if the team wins by 20 or more, they end up winning that next game as well. So it's kind of like, all right, once they figure out the formula, sometimes I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's like they just got in the other team's head that second game because they beat them up so bad, but more often than not, it turns out that it's on an 11-1 run as well. So I kind of thought it looked like a nice little spot for OKC to try to take advantage here, at least game 1. Maybe Denver splits them in game 2 and they go back in a new series. So
yeah, it feels like the Nuggets. They got down pretty big in that last game, but just from watching all these games, they don't have the deepest rotation, man. Like they really run like a 6 or 7 man rotation of guys, and I would assume that the Thunder are deep, so nothing would surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if the Thunder beat them up again. I think they had a much better game plan for Jokic in that last game, and they really made him earn everything. They were very physical with Jokic, and I think that was a good adjustment in the game plan because everything runs through that guy. He's the man for sure, but they have the big bodies to throw at him, unlike some of the other teams.
Dude, he rolled off 40 points and 24 rebounds or something like that first game, and his stat line was stupid.
He's insane. In my lifetime at least, I have never seen a player like him. Obviously in the past there's Wilt and stuff, but
sure. But he's averaging a triple-double. The guy's averaging a triple-double.
There's never been anything like it. He's incredible to watch. So what he's doing with that team is, even if they get waxed the next 3 games, it's still like incredible what he's been able to accomplish.
Well, that's awesome, and this is great information. Andrew Babakidis joining us from the Superbook in Las Vegas. Andrew, tell them what's going on. Tell them where they can find you, and we'll put a bow on the show, my friend.
Absolutely, yeah. If you haven't followed me on X yet, feel free to shoot me a follow. And if you have any questions about getting fights up or getting any lines up for certain events that you want, or just questions in general, I'm always willing to talk to people. And I have a lot of fun coming on the shows and chatting it up about sports. There's nothing I love more than these competitive playoff atmosphere games. It's a lot of fun to talk about. And then the pay-per-view card tomorrow, we're going to do some reduced juice on some of the fights. So if you're in Vegas, it's always good to have a pretty wide variety of books to get the best price. That's what's most important is, shopping prices. And we're one of the most competitive priced books out there. So feel free to sign up with us if you're in Vegas and come say hello.
Awesome stuff, you guys. Make sure you do reach out to Andrew. He's a terrific resource. Look at the information he puts out on a regular basis with the liability reports. And, they don't build those big castles out there for nothing. So it's really awesome. It's a real privilege to have you here, Andrew. I know you're busy. Your time is certainly appreciated, and looking forward to getting you on again soon. Good luck with your fight card this weekend.
Right on. Yes. I appreciate you. Yeah. I'm excited to do more of these more often, and I'm hoping I can hop on a couple of the other shows during the week going forward, maybe for some of the pay-per-view cards. Sad I missed out on the one this week, but we'll get that done in the future for sure.
Sounds good, my man. Thank you guys all for checking us out. Smash that thumbs up. Give Andrew a follow at Babakidis24 on X, and we'll see you guys real soon. On behalf of the Sports Money Network, check out our guy Ramon Scott, 9 a.m. tomorrow. He's coming back from Vegas out there, giving you guys the morning steam, and we'll see you guys live stream 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Good luck, everybody.